Yeah, now stand and cheer for your Talking Basketball podcast. Welcome back to this episode. This is the second part of a doubleheader. If you haven't heard the first, go back and listen to it. If you can't be bothered, that's all right. Just keep listening to this one, and hopefully you enjoy it. And don't forget, like and subscribe. I hate it when people say that. I mean, look, Mark, this is only at 25. 24, 25.
I was about 24, I think, when I came back from Cyprus. I can remember the day coming. I think I flew in. I can't remember where I flew into, but I was in like shorts, t-shirt, tan. Got back. I'm like, there's frost everywhere. I look ridiculous. I am there literally like I've just come back from holiday. But I was swimming in the sea like the weekend before in Cyprus because it was November. Came back and it was freezing. I was like, I'd gone from Alaska to Cyprus, and my body was just like, what is going on? But yeah.
I like the idea. You go into an RAF thing and you're in with shades,
flip-flops.
Sure, it's like Luton Airport or something.
Hey fellas, how you doing? And you're like, you just got off a plane. You're in.
You signed me up.
You're in.
No, but I moved back. So I moved back from Cyprus. I lived with my brother in Peterborough for a while, and then played just played basketball in Peterborough, which was again good fun. While I was waiting to join the RAF, so I had to do all the interviews, and then I had to do a vetting for PTIing, and then and it wasn't until 2007 that I actually joined the RAF.
Well, let's talk about that, because one of the things I absolutely love with the forces in the UK is, I can't comment on anything else. I'm assuming it's the same for all the other sports, but I love the fact that you've got the Air Force, they've got their own team. The Army have got a team. You've got the Royal Marines. You've got the...
So it's Marines and Navy. The Navy Marines have their
Navy Marines,
team,
that's it, yeah. And then the Air Force, and then once a year they all come together in this big tournament. It's like, right, let's see who's going to win it.
Yeah.
And some of those tournaments are great. Some of those tournaments are great. And the venue actually changes every year.
Yeah, so each year you get a different host.
Because we've had it in here in Portsmouth, haven't we?
Yeah. So you get it at Nelson, and then it goes to RAF Cosford when the RAF do it, and then I think the Army host theirs at Aldershot. It just changes each year. Like
but it's a big deal.
It is, yeah. It's for each sport.
Deal.
So you've probably seen or heard the Army Navy rugby game.
Yes.
So that's their inter-services as well.
Yeah.
So
that's huge, isn't it?
That's what I think it had the biggest attendance for an amateur sports fixture.
It was at Twickenham, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I've been to that once.
It's huge.
Yeah,
it's basically just military people just getting on it and supporting the Army or the Navy. So with the basketball's not one of the main sports in the military. So you get like your football, rugby, netball, your big sports that get kind of...
And sailing.
And sailing.
Like sailing, water sportsy things.
Okay.
Only because I know a few people who were instructors randomly.
So you get loads of sports. And if you're really good, you can get what they call elite athlete scheme. So you're in the military, but you might be really good at rugby, let's say. So then you go off and play for a rugby team, but the military are still kind of paying your wages, just allowing you to go off and do your sport. Back with the basketball, it's not one of the biggest sports. So trying to get people in and attracted to it is always a challenge, but you still get good. The women's, like I coached the women for a while, and trying to get more women into the sport was always a challenge. When I remember once at Cosford, we had the netball team were doing their tryouts at the same time, and they had about 50 girls turn up to try out for 7 of 11 spots.
Is it like 51 side and like 3?
And we had 6 girls all in. they were all next door in like their matching gilets and all this stuff, and we're there with like girls who have not really picked up a basketball before, all in mismatch kit. So I just went over and I said, right, I'll be honest, girls, you're not all going to get on that team. So if you want to come and play a real sport, we're next door.
If you don't want to play a sport that sucks, play a decent sport. I'll
tell you a story about netball. So my father-in-law playing netball. He ruptured his Achilles. They put the cast on too tight, and he ended up having a stroke.
Oh God!
I've got another friend who was running after a ball. His hyperextended his knee. to the point where he had to get his leg amputated because of the pain and everything from it.
Jeez.
So netball's a dangerous sport.
There you go. Do not play netball. Play basketball instead.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Like
But yeah,
they were
I said to the girls, come over, play with us, and we ended up getting a lot more girls into the sport. But it's one of those, sport in the military is brilliant because there's many opportunities. But even with the RAF basketball, it's taken me around the world.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, like I said, I've been to Alaska, Holland, Germany, Belgium, Cyprus. And then with the RAF team, we went to New Zealand, to Florida. And then with the UK Armed Forces team out to Belgium. So many opportunities still just to travel and play, which is great.
It speaks to being
amazing.
a team, doesn't it? It's a team sport, and it's the second most popular team sport in the UK, as it is any basketball. But
For under 18s, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But in the forces, where being part of a team is so important, and being part of you're part of a bigger thing.
Yep. And that's it. I think with I know we shouldn't really mention COVID, but that's a hard time for a lot of the youth coming through. And it's like you said, it's just being part of something. And that's where I found it with basketball as well. It's just like a lot of my friends. I mean, I met my wife through playing basketball.
Really? Was she one of the netball players you
No,
stole?
no, definitely not. No, she's
When
much better
I
at
first met you,
basketball
I
than me.
didn't like you.
I wrangled
on
you.
that side
She
of the
did say that.
curtain.
So, but she used to play at Worcester. So she had a scholarship and
The
played at
Wolfpack.
Worcester when she was younger. And then she joined the RAF. And I can remember the first time I saw her, because she said, "Oh, do you remember when you first saw me?" I was like, "Yeah, it was at RAF Cranwell. You had a North Carolina long sleeve t-shirt on." So I looked at me like, "How do you remember that?" And I was like, "It's what I do." But she said, "Oh, I remember you because I thought you were a knob." She's like, I thought you like strutted in. Like, she didn't know me at this time. She clearly did know me very well. But yeah, then it took her 4 years to realise I wasn't such a knob.
And the dream of her life.
Yeah, and then she's still with me, so
Well, that's good.
I've done something right, hopefully. But yeah, so
I like the idea you said, if she says to you again, can you remember the first, you go, yeah. Like you went up to the free throw line, you hit a brick, and then you went to the baseline and you threw up an air ball, and then you went back up and you shot another air ball from the 3-point line.
And then you went to dribble it and it bounced off your foot and it went out of bounds.
And I thought, she's the one.
she's the one. She's just as good as me. But no, I've always said she's much better at basketball than me. She was always a 3-point shooter as well. She actually won the inter-services with her team.
Oh,
whereas
nice.
I've never won the inter-services with the RAF team. I think
Like-
injuries and stuff as well. But
Do you watch the games? Do you go support the games?
when I can, yeah. So it was hard. So again, you said about injuries earlier. I had hip surgery back in 2011. And then it was just other injuries just kind of built up. And as I said, I'd played a lot, and I think it just took its toll, like playing in Alaska, playing in Cyprus, playing in Germany. Just when you always look back and you're saying to kids, make sure you stretch, make sure you warm up, make sure you do all of this, even the strength training. I'd love to have programs, like you said with LeBron. They've just got the top level support team around them doing everything right, whereas I'm going to the gym with my mate going, let's just put whatever we can on here. And try and lift weights. So never really taught that at a young age. So I always try and teach the importance of movement, just the strength in the right places. And my career in the RAF, I was an exercise rehabilitation instructor. So that's why I did join up to do all of that.
Really?
So then just educating people better on how they should be moving. But when people are injured as well, it's bringing them back to full fitness. So really interesting stuff. Which I think through my career, through my injuries as well, that's why I kind of went down that route. But looking back, I always think, I wish I'd have done more of the less of the just play basketball and more of the other stuff around it. But when you get to be a teenage kid, you're like, right, let's get into the gym, let's get big,
Oh,
because
100%.
people want to see big muscles. But
Lots of players say the
Rippling
same
bicep.
thing. Or we would go and play basketball, then you go to the gym.
Mhm.
Everyone says the same thing.
I wish I just played basketball more, because that's where you get it, just playing pickup games all day. But
So very weird that you've gone onto that subject, because one of the notes I was looking at, because I always put notes in for shows, what we're doing,
yeah,
just things that are of interest. And the thing that I had for this week, I was going to talk about some bits with the NBA. And at the moment, and it's like these are my notes,
Yeah.
and it literally here, it's all about the NBA injury list. That was what my topic was going to be this week, that I was just going to talk about. And the reason is because there are so many people on this injuries list. It is absolutely ridiculous, and I was trying to find it. But when you go through and you look at the names on these injuries lists, and it's like they'll put up a little post, and ESPN's got a really good one that you can look at, but they have to do it at certain times. Who's doing there? You look down the list of people who is on this list currently, and you think, is anyone who's a superstar actually playing at the moment? Everyone's out. Everyone's out injured. It's you pick a team, and they're not playing.
Was that lad? Was it Chet Holmgren?
Yep.
He came in, didn't he? Then
And he landed
broke
straight on
his
it.
foot.
Yeah, and he's landed on his hip.
Has he done
And
another?
now he's
injury?
bruised that. Yeah.
I went all the way to Florida, watched the Pelicans play. I'm like, here we go. And I was building my boys up and going, look, you're going to see a guy, Zion Williamson. He is a monster. You wait and see. He's going to score 30 points tonight. Injured. Didn't play. He sat on the bench. He had a nice tracksuit on. That's about all we got.
Yeah.
Someone's labelled him as I think they call him a TAS player or something, as in there's always something, because they like he consistently is being injured. Every team. I mean, Mavs have got Luka out at the moment, as just an example.
1 hour, 25 minutes back on the mouse.
But in all seriousness, the amount of players who are not in there,
Yeah.
included in the likes of the bigs, like Joel Embiid, Kawhi hasn't even played a game this series yet. And there was a thing last season, I was just trying to think of who the coach was, but it was a really interesting point, and he made about European basketball versus American basketball. And the main thing was, in college, they are all about game after game after game after. It's non-stop games.
Yeah.
But they don't practice very much.
Yeah.
Whereas in Europe, it's all practice and only one, if not 2 games a week maximum. Like it's really so game time and actual game experience is low. But in
the
practice,
European people we've had on have said the same thing.
yeah, and
guys
he's a
from
very
Europe.
famous coach, and he's like, that's what you're seeing in the NBA now. People are picking that swing and going, why is all these NBA players? Why is everyone getting so injured and so fatigued? And you go, hang on, this is a 25 or 26-year-old who, as far as fitness goes, is as peak. You know, it's ridiculous levels of athleticism they've got.
Yeah.
Were there as many
And they
injuries
get-
in
they
the
get
80s and 90s?
No,
Because we were hard.
but they literally, it's like, what are they out with? A hyperextension,
Yeah.
for example. Paul George out at the moment, hyperextended knee.
Yeah.
Someone else, and you look at it and you think, really? Like a lot of people would play through that, but a lot of them now are like, oh, we've got to rest it for this period, and then this period, and then after a while you think,
They're playing a lot more now as well, aren't they? I think so. From like the 80s, 90s, I don't know if that's correct, but it looks like they're playing more games now than they did.
there are a few more teams, but it's 82 games in the season, then
Okay.
you have the playoffs.
Yeah.
What they're thinking at the moment is it's to do with college.
Okay.
And what they're thinking to do is because certainly in the route to the NBA
Yeah.
was always high school. If you're doing well in that, then you go college, then you go and
Yeah.
the amount of loading the bodies are going through, as you said, you were 16, you were 6'6".
Yep.
They're immediately at that point going, right,
You were 6'6" at 16.
they're immediately going to go, right, he's going to be in this, we
Some
want him
people
in this
would
role.
dream of that.
And they will be
Jeez.
putting him. So
Yeah.
then, by the time you're 16, when people made the joke of, cover your ears, Luka, and they're like, look how much weight he's put on, blah, 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 and stuff. They say, oh, he's only been in the league 6 years. You go, he was playing when he was 16 or something
Yeah.
for Real Madrid. Like,
Yeah.
ridiculous. So you go,
Yeah.
when you look at him now and he's 26, you go, he's professionally been hammering his body for a decade.
Yeah. And
And,
that's
and he doesn't look after himself, clearly, but he has definitely been
Yeah.
hammering his body. And from that age, as a
Yeah.
PT, there's got to be questions on that. If you're like 16-year-olds and you are
Yeah.
hammering their bodies,
And this is it. This is probably like I said before. I said, oh, I found the gym rather than just playing basketball.
yeah,
But when I look back, it was just, I mean, my dad he was a mechanic and he used to have like scrap cars in the driveway. And we used to jump off the cars and practice dunking and stuff like that. So
Oh,
the stuff we
amazing.
used to do, no wonder my hip's gone. But you're right. It's just all of that education around the game. It's like a car. You can fine tune it. they perform at the top level, but any small discrepancies in there and they break. And it's the same with athletes in some ways. It's like you've got to look after the nutrition, look after the conditioning, all of that stuff that comes with it. So it's not just game after game after game after game. Genetics as well are going to play a big role in that.
Yeah.
But it's looking back now, it's all how do you look after your body? And even with like children when they're coming up, it's not throwing them into stuff too early, but just teaching them the movement patterns. And I look at my flexibility now and I think at one point it was good, but we just kind of teach ourselves to not be as flexible anymore. Like sitting down, slouching forward, all that stuff just has an impact on it. And even with basketball, I think if you're sat on the bench, you see most people are kind of sat forward in a bad position. It's just little bits like this, and we all do it.
Mark, can you sit properly, please?
I'm bending my back the other way, so I'm doing
and
it.
it's that education piece that comes with it, which again goes back to when you go out to college, you're getting a bit more of that education. You get a bit more, much better. But I'm at the point where, so I've got a stand-up desk, and my wife's going to love me for the fact I've mentioned my stand-up desk because it's my favourite thing.
I got one over there.
But I never sit down at work because I figure
it.
if I sit down at night or you sit down when you're eating. And to be honest, when I first went from being a rehab instructor into when I commissioned to an officer, sat at a desk, within 2 weeks, my back was gone.
Oh, really?
So I was like, I need to change what I'm doing. So I got a stand-up desk, and it completely changed everything. I was like, do you know what?
Really?
It's much better.
Do you get lower back problems?
So not as much anymore.
Because the only reason I say that, obviously, just coming back from America, you're standing in lots of queues in Universal and Disney, and that's the one thing I found. My lower back, it just kills standing in the queues.
Standing still on concrete is bad for that, in particular, like queuing, because you're standing static on a super hard surface.
So we used to always say as exercise rehab instructors, after doing our course and everything, it was always your patients would come in, and you can usually cure everything with, if you look at, or the reasons for it are either weak glutes, poor posture, or weak core. Those three things, you fix those, and most of your injuries go. So someone would come in and go, I've got a bad knee, let's check your glutes. Weak glutes, let's fix your glutes. Honestly, it's ridiculous. And even now, it's like strengthen your glutes, strengthen your core, good posture.
Paul, Stu needs to check your ass.
Never.
No.
So
like that is my problem.
Even being tall, like stooping forwards, I used to always think, right, posture. And you see a lot of tall people do kind of stoop forward. So I used to always be conscious.
You're messing with my body putting the mic like this. So look, my posture's terrible.
Put the mic how you want. I said put it how you want.
I'm doing all right.
No, that's
exactly.
What I find is when I'm
he likes sitting forward so he can read his notes.
When I'm doing lots of exercise, it's the glutes. Like I get my wife, she gets like a drill, and she'll be going in the glutes. I'll be screaming.
You're on the
absolutely screaming, like the.
You mean the massage gun?
The massage,
not a drill.
Yeah, you know the.
Butt drill.
No, what? Yeah, like the massage gun. You know, where it's like a big ball.
Yeah.
I'm screaming when she does that.
It's glutes. It's all about that. See, so that's where a lot of the strength comes from. So you see, you have discrepancies or weaknesses in the body. I said with me, with a long torso as well, lower back. It's always people just try and train what they can see in the mirror. And you think if you train everything at the back or kind of in there, that's what you need for.
Is it like the sartorius or something that goes from the back of the knee to the bottom of the back or something?
No, the sartorius I think runs down.
There's one. I know it wraps or runs round or something, doesn't it? But it's like you're saying, if people say, "Oh, I've got a bad back," it's usually because their legs or this bit's fatigued because it's
tightness and
tight.
Or the IT band. That's a classic when someone. You ever had that done, Mark?
Yes.
When they rub the leg, yeah.
That's.
So I had my I had hip surgery back in August the second time, and I had tight adductors. So I went and see the physio and kind of he massaged my adductors, and my God, I'm still in pain from it now. So it's just those muscles that you never really get. I can get it with a foam roller now and again, but as we all know, you never put as much pain or pressure through on yourself, whereas he absolutely destroyed it. It's great.
So I've got that little ball thing here somewhere, that vibrating ball that you dig in. And that's bad because you can put it on the floor and then lay on it, and then you got nowhere to hide in that. I
use a little lacrosse ball. You probably see I take it to the basketball when I'm watching Teddy play. I've got a little orange lacrosse ball that I put under my feet. massage
really?
the bottom of your
I'll
feet
pay
on.
attention now.
Yeah.
You really?
Pay attention.
Yeah, just sit there. But I'm just sat there doing nothing, so I was like, I might as well.
So you keep it moving.
Yeah, but you do, it's weird, feet. So I had Achilles problem. I've had every kind of injury, but Achilles problems, and it was never going away. And I realised it's because my toes, I need to stretch my toes more and at the bottom of my feet rather than my Achilles, because the pain was in the calf. I was like, why isn't it going from doing all this foam rolling and stretching? So paid more attention to my toes, got the ball, massaged the bottom of my feet, and then it's kind of all gone.
Not plantar fasciitis.
So yeah, so it's a bit like that, but
yeah.
it's weird when you attack it from another angle, and the issues seem to go. But yeah, it's weird. I think I've learned more from my own body breaking than other people.
But look, I think it's fair to say basketball inherently comes with you're going to get a certain injury.
Yeah.
There's a you're going to roll your leg. It's going to happen at some point.
Your ankles.
You're going to do the old finger pop. Maybe not lose your teeth, but you like
Yeah.
bending fingers, don't you? You're quite good at doing that.
Oh yeah,
I've
yeah.
got
I've
nice bent
dislocated
fingers.
loads of them. Yeah.
Everyone's had a
dislocated
ball on
loads.
the end of the finger.
When you see, sometimes you see someone, a basketball player, and they put their hand up and they grab something, and it's like one of them is just like
Just
bigger
moving
or
away.
bent off the
Yeah.
side, and you go,
Or some,
Yeah.
it doesn't bend, it doesn't straighten. When you
Yeah.
try to straighten it, it doesn't do it. You know what?
I can't do that on that one. I can put that one up, but this one I can't because I popped that knuckle when it ball went.
I've got one guy who played RAF basketball who he lost one finger. So I
Oh.
think he was wearing a ring when he dunked it once when he was younger.
What?
So
Oh,
only had
crap.
4 fingers.
Oh, what? Like on the net?
Yeah.
Ripped it off? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's why you don't wear rings on the net.
Don't wear rings.
Jeez.
But he still did well.
Were you there when it happened?
No, he was much younger. I just remember seeing it and somebody told me, yeah, he lost it from doing that. So
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
He's not going to play
Hope
with a
it
ring
went.
anymore,
Hope
is
the
he?
dunk went in as well, because
I don't
that'd be even
someone
worse.
said it was when
wouldn't
he was 16, but it was a bit older when I was playing with
I
him.
mean, that's got your finger gets ripped out your hand. That's
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, so I lost
Yeah.
a lot of my top teeth playing, but interestingly, I've got this. I'll put a gum shield in and I'll wear a mask.
hmm
It was more of getting over the psychological
Yeah.
barriers of getting on a court again. But I played for the first time last week, and it was really nice. Played against Mark Jackson,
Yes, you did.
former
Yeah.
BBL player for the Thames Valley Tigers, and Mark was marking me at one point in the
Oh, was
game
he?
in the first half. And
I'm sure he didn't do that on purpose.
no, a couple of those guys were just being very kind.
Yeah.
They were being very kind because not many people saw it, but the coach of the other team saw it. Mark saw it, and they went, "Oh, you're playing again." And they said, "Can you see your mask?" And I took the mask off, and they saw how much my hand was shaking, like how
Nervous you were.
worried I was.
Yeah.
Have you seen the mask, Stu?
I think I have. Is that like the mesh?
I can show it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw. Yeah, I think I've seen a picture of it. So
But then Mark came into the game, and he was like, "Don't worry, Paul. I'm not going to elbow you in the face." But
that's often when the injuries happen when you're trying not to.
yeah. But no, it was right. Those guys were being kind. But there's a part of me that didn't want them to be. It's like, no. I need to get over
Yeah.
this. So Alex Grant, who came on the show, played National League, was one of the University of top 12 players in university. Remember he won that?
Yes, you did. Yeah.
In England. I was marking at one point and I went into him really hard and he looked at me like, right, are we playing? Like, but it was like, yeah, I need you. I need to
Yeah.
hit someone
Need
to
it
hit
to-
this so I can have the confidence.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, look, got over it and yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to find the picture. I'll find it.
I think I've seen it. Yeah, it's like black mesh. Like
Yeah,
Bane.
yeah, I think I showed it to you.
Yeah, I think yeah.
But yeah, I think
That's often the hardest thing. It's like they say getting back on the horse, isn't it? But like you
Yeah.
said, you just got to get in there and
do it.
do it.
Yeah, so I'm trying, but it's funnily enough,
That
it's
one.
part
That's
of
it.
my
like sort of
show it to everyone.
the little version of Bane.
the team,
Hey.
the Timu Bane.
Do you
Oh,
want
no.
me to tell you something?
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell
Are you going to
something?
give that away? Because that's a good thing to know. And if you let that know,
Yeah, why not? Our listeners will love it. Our listeners will love this. So one of our players in the second half. Should I say this or not? Right.
you can give a snowflake warning if you want.
If you're a referee, you might want to
Cover your ears.
cover your ears, not listen. Snowflake
Go
warning.
put a cup of tea on or something.
That team in particular that it did it to, it was an accident. Yeah. However, the referees who are reffing that game, I told them 4 or 5 years ago that team is dangerous and someone's going to get seriously hurt against them. And I've been saying that to them for about 4 years. So there's nothing malicious or deliberate about it. It was just a horrible accident. However, I had been saying to one particular referee who happened to be reffing that night that something serious was going to happen against that team. So
Because they're a Lithuanian-based team who play a very physical game.
they let them play physical. When you try to play physical back, foul. You can't do that to them, but they can do whatever they want to you. Because Europeans play physical, and it's like, what? Doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it's got to be a two-way rule.
Someone
It
can
can't
push
just be
you
one.
harder than you can push them, and that's okay.
I used to get it all the time because you're bigger than them.
Oh,
So
okay.
if I have somebody smaller than me,
Yes.
they're fouling me all over the place. They're like, well, you're bigger than that.
Oh, the
Yeah.
hacker shack. So you'd
And
get
I'm
the
like,
same
You've
thing.
got to be kidding me.
Right.
Yeah.
It's exactly that. Exactly that. So anyway, the massive perk of this mask. So, I mean, look, it took me a long time to get to the point where I'm getting on the court, and still my hand's shaking getting on the
Yeah.
court. So I'm still trying to process this all. And I'm emotionally charged on the court. And one of our players gets fouled quite hard. And I just turned around to the ref and went, come on, ref, that's how people lose their teeth. And I said it quite passionately.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I just said, you need to sort it out, or something like that. And then I can see the ref looking. And that's when it clicks. The refs can't see that I'm saying stuff. Because of the mask.
That's what I'm saying. Don't give it away.
So I was like, who's saying this?
the ref was looking around, and I'm like looking at him. And then it clocks, and he's looking at me, and I look away like,
You've given it away now. They're
Well,
going to be
look.
like, if they hear like someone go,
"Are you?"
someone definitely called me that.
Yeah, I might start doing this for a
Ref,
laugh.
you suck. Be like,
Just
that was definitely you. Your lips didn't move.
what? Just like say something to the ref and look away.
You're like, prove it. Yeah.
And just go,
But did you see
"Ref,
my
you said
mouth
it."
move? Did you see my lips
Yeah.
move? So how can I talk if you can't see my lips?
I mean, it is a mesh, but yeah, yeah. I
You couldn't see
I
through
talked
that.
to him the next day. I went, Mark, there is a perk to this mask.
Talking absolute trash.
So, but yeah, I can't talk too well because you've got a gum shield anyway behind it. So, but yeah, we've gone way off thing. One of the things I definitely say to the youth that I'm involved in coaching is looking at the armed forces in particular, because especially because I'll know these kids because they're involved in basketball, and especially when they're good, and knowing my involvement's more around the Navy and stuff like that, but knowing what they do, and like some of these guys, I'm like, look, as soon as they see you're a good basketball player, you're going to be doing some kind of basketball as well as a career. Like you say you want to be an engineer. Okay, they're going to train you to be an engineer, and you're going to be playing basketball. Like,
It's an opportunity.
if you're not sure what to do, that's what you need to do.
Absolutely.
I say to my kids now, I mean, they're still quite young, and I'm just like, look, when you finish school, you're getting a job, you're learning. I'm taking you to a college to learn like carpentry or plumbing or something like that, or I'm taking you to one of the 3 offices to sign up. That's your options. But yeah.
But there's so many options in the military. And again, I was being a military kid. So my granddad was Air Force, my dad was Air Force, and then I joined up as well. But as I said, it's for those reasons. It's like I've got an opportunity just to keep playing basketball or doing the things I wanted to do. Again, it's whatever sport you want. The military's a good option just to keep doing it. If you're really good, like you've said, I mean, I went in, I met a guy when I was out in Germany. That's a really good friend of ours who's unfortunately passed away recently. He was the RAF player, and then he became a coach. And when I moved back while I was in Peterborough joining up, well, before I joined up, played with him on his local league team in, where were we? Wittering, near Peterborough. so knew him before I even joined. And then when I joined up, he knew I was already in the system. So he was like, right, well, as soon as you finish your training, you're on the team. So went in, and then again, I didn't know what to expect of the RAF team. I'd heard stories from him. The military used to be a lot bigger, so they used to have a lot more teams. So you had like there was a RAF Germany team, and there was an RAF UK team. So now it's just one RAF team. It's just kind of shrinking. The military is shrinking. But I was thinking, right, I've got to really work hard to get on the team here. But then I was still, at the same time, thinking I'm on my downward slope. I've been at the peak of my playing career. I'm kind of coming down. Did it all, got onto the combined service team as well. So they then choose all the best players from the Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, and you go into one team to play in an international tournament out in Shape, which was brilliant as well.
That's awesome, isn't it?
And that's where you go, and that's just the military side. So at the same time, we're playing National League. You go off and play National League as well and do all the other stuff. It's just what you want to put into it, really. Yeah. But yeah, the opportunities the sport has given me in the Air Force. I said I went out to New Zealand for about 500 quid, I think. So I get to go out to New Zealand and just play basketball while getting paid for minimum. It's brilliant. Where else do we go? Florida. So I went to a place called Destin in Florida, or Hulbert Field Air Force Base. So we got there, do our kind of training camp for 2 weeks, play a few of the base teams, and just enjoy Florida. I think we went out there just before spring break as well. So good weather, good time out in Florida.
No polar bears.
No polar bears, thank goodness.
Don't need to worry about any of it.
Alligators.
No.
Got to worry about them. Can't go
And
swimming in the
dolphins.
water.
So where were we? We were in the sea, the actual sea, not the lake. And me and my friend Tex, we're like, we'd probably had a few beers. We're like, let's swim out to the end of the pier. We thought we saw a sandbank. So we were swimming out. The next thing we see is like dolphins or porpoise, like kind of in the waves. I was like, this is cool. And the next thing we see, there's a lifeguard next to us shouting us and like, you guys need to swim back in. And then all I can remember my friend Tex saying, it's like, it's a public sea, I can do what I want. Where this go, I don't know. But yeah, we were out there, and in the end we just decided to swim back in, but we realised we were quite far out. I think it was to do with the, not polar bears, dolphins, wasn't it?
Yes.
Random
So were they
diversion.
dolphins or were they sharks?
They definitely weren't sharks. They were just riding the waves in. But yeah, I mean, we had a few drinks. They were definitely there because we both looked back and go, no. So we definitely saw dolphins and a lifeguard who'd come out to rescue us from the sea.
And you're like, I don't need rescuing.
No, we didn't. We just swam back in.
Who are you?
Yeah, he was angry.
You
He
were
was
jet
like,
ski.
it's a public sea. I can swim where I want. Why should you tell us not to swim? But
Lovely.
realised we were quite far out.
No, I was in Florida, or no, this isn't this time, another time, and I was in the sea. And no, sorry, this was Miami. I was in Miami, and there was a lifeguard there, and you just started talking to him and saying about sharks and stuff. And he went, look, let me put it this way: I will go in the water and try and help someone if I can, but I would not choose to swim in that water. It was like, oh right, okay, and that said it all to me.
Yeah.
And he goes, you'll see
Scary
him.
not knowing
You'll
what's
see him.
happening.
But yeah.
Don't know how we got to sharks and stuff, but hey,
Wow, I think you were still hung up about those polar bears.
polar bears. I do like polar bears.
You know what? This that's where I was going with this. The worst thing about swimming out, and this is what always happens to me when I think, I'm going to swim right out there. Like there's a buoy, I'm going to swim out there and touch it and come back.
You get halfway and need a wee.
Now you go halfway. You're in the sea.
Just saying. Feed
You
those
get
fish.
halfway, and then in my head, dun dun.
Yeah,
That's
Spielberg
the worst
did,
And I'll
thing
be
to do
like-
for
he did a
every
number
picture.
on everyone.
I'll be like, oh crap, and then I'll be looking down where I can't see anything.
That's the worst thing when you can't see what's down there. But they do they're random. They show like an outdoor cinema Jaws, but you're in a lake and like a little rubber ring, which I think is brilliant. And you just watch Jaws while you're sitting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? There's this other film called, what's it called?
With who in it?
Gorgeous actress. She's married to Deadpool.
The Shallows.
The Shallows. Yeah. So if you haven't watched The Shallows,
I've not seen the show.
check out The Shallows. So there's a shark in it. Spoiler alert,
Standard.
but Anyway,
Is this
Blake-
where she's
Blake-
stuck
Blake
on the
Lively
rock and the
running
shark
around,
down? She
yeah.
can't
Yes.
get back.
anyway,
Okay.
running around
so
in a
the
bikini,
the
basically.
film starts. Oh, she's gorgeous,
How are we
isn't
up to
she?
sharks? And
The film starts, and I'm sat like this. By the end of the film, I'm sat like this.
Did wonder where that was
feet
going.
up everywhere.
In your own house.
Yes, I know. Like genuinely, I'm petrified of sharks. But
Those-
you don't get to face them every day, so it's not too much of a problem.
No.
But
What? You don't get to face them every day. What
yeah, I'm not swimming in the sea every day, so I don't
and
need
yet
to
you
worry
felt
about
the
it too much.
need to remove your feet from the carpet in your house
Yes.
in case
Yeah,
a
yeah,
carpet
yeah.
shark
Look,
came.
Mark, sharks scare me. All right, don't have a go at my fears.
So my friend was out in Oz many years back and
Australia.
did one of those. Was just doing some surfing or whatever, and then they got a helicopter ride as part of a thing or whatever. And when they went over the place, they were like, "Oh, this is one of the surf beaches." Like, "Oh yeah, we were there the other day," and they were looking down and they were like, "Oh," and the guy's like, "Yeah, you can see all the sharks. They're always there." Like that, and it was like, "We were literally there yesterday." He went, "Well, yeah, they'd have been just swimming around you. Like you have no clue." But he said, "Obviously, you're in a helicopter and you're looking down.
You see them all.
You are just like shadow. And obviously nowadays they have it on drones, don't they? Where it's like someone's like on their paddleboard and they've no idea there's a shark behind them going la la la. Or, "Oh, you big fat seal, I want to eat you." It's brilliant. I love it.
The Australians are pretty good at looking after people as well.
Yeah.
On those beaches, they're well versed in looking after people. And if there's a helicopter and it's hanging around, you get out of the sea.
Well, apparently
It
there's
is.
3 genus of great white shark they've found recently.
There's 3 what?
Genus. So there's 3 different versions of a great white shark.
Oh, that's even
Is that
worse.
There's
like
what?
One's bad enough.
Jaws 1, Jaws 2, Jaws 3?
No, so you have the I think it's the Pacific, which is obviously like Cali, right over Hawaii, and obviously over towards like Japan, that's kind of area. Then you have the one which is I want to say it was Pacific, not Pacific, Atlantic. So it's North Atlantic. So they're the ones that go across and go into the Mediterranean. And then and that's Florida to the Mediterranean. Then you have the third lot who go from, I want to say it's like India or somewhere, across to Australia. So that's like the third lot.
What are the ones that went to
But they
Amity's town?
Well, that would have been Atlantic, wouldn't it?
That's Jaws.
Because
3.
Amity was apparently off of Long Island, where the Hamptons, that sort of thing. That's apparently where Amity's supposed to be, around that, or Delaware, around that sort of thing. I think. I know what's the one next to it? Rhode Island, like Rhode Island, New York, Long Island, wherever it was. But that's would have been the Atlantic. So that's an Atlantic great white.
Well, I was in Australia last
Who knew?
year. Last year, that's when I got a chance to see we had the great experience with the Adelaide 36ers in the NBL, who are doing really well this season. Also, check out. There's a bit of a brawl.
third,
A brawl last week, Mark. There's some suspensions. You should
Yeah, no,
look
I've
at
seen
that.
it, Mr. Harrell.
But whilst we were in the sea there in Adelaide, guy comes up to us on a boat and went, "There's a big shark just over there. You should get out of the water." We're like, "Okay." And my boys were like, going as quick as they could.
Straight
Meanwhile,
out.
Paul's already on the beach. Like, come on, fellas, hurry up.
No, man, I was in the sea when he said it. It's like,
Yeah.
you got to just swim quick. But I saw a clip like what you're talking about, where you have the overhead thing.
Yeah.
Now you got like a killer whale.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just following this guy, and he's on like a bodyboard, and there's a boat going around him, and he's trying to swim to like the handle on a rope.
Yep.
Anyway, he's looking at this killer whale's getting close and close. I think it's just playing with him. Anyway,
Yeah.
he grabs hold of it, of this the handle, and then speedboat goes, and he obviously gets dragged on, and then you think, oh, he's going to get away now. You see the speed that this killer whale goes. Like this guy goes, and this killer whale's like within like that is right on him. It was
They're
like,
big.
and
big
the clip
monsters.
stops there, and you think, did he survive?
Probably.
Right. So, what do you want to do, Mark? We're drawing to the end.
We are drawing to an
Do
end.
you want Stu to do the 5 and pine or the shot first?
I think we've got to do shot first, and then round it off with the 5 and pine.
So we haven't done this in a long time.
We haven't, but I do
Did
have.
Annie do
I do have a
this?
question. Yes, she did. I do have a question for Stu though.
Yeah.
What did you take with you from each of your experiences as they sort of culminated?
Oh, good question.
That was a good question, Mark.
So
I
what
bet
did I
they're
take? So
thinking-
I'll start with Alaska. So I took from there, it's I think mentality. What I mean by that is that it's all well and good having the skills and everything to play basketball, but for me particularly, it's just that mentality of leaving what I know, moving so far away from that support network into a place that is just so completely different and new, to then try and to adapt to it and I say survive, but to come out at the other end really in one piece. And then I look these days, and it's that resilience to it all as well. It's like it's lonely. I mean, I keep saying to my kids, it's like when I used to play, I used to just dribble a ball for hours. I used to throw it against a wall. My brother never really played basketball. He was always football. So I had a couple of friends and we'd just play as much as we can. And even out in Alaska, it was I'm playing, but then when you're not playing, it's what are you doing? And it's just building that mentality to be like, right, I've got to find this on my own. No one's just going to give it to me. So I think that's one big thing I took from there, and also that realization is that you can kind of do it. So what did I take from Cyprus? Cyprus was an interesting one. I think from there I realized it can be quite lonely. So I was doing, as I said, I moved to Ayia Napa and quickly moved out of there because it was just not a great place to stay when you want to play basketball. I mean, I was coming back from training at 9 o'clock when people was then, oh, let's go out and drink. And I'm like, oh, okay. So then going out with new people every week or every 2 weeks and then getting in at 6 in the morning, just on that cycle, I'm like, this isn't good.
Yeah.
But I realized I had my 2 hours of training with a team and then I lived away from them and there's nothing else in between. So fortunately I had a gym that I could go to and train. But when you look at athletes and you think they fall into habits like gambling and things like that, it's because it is difficult. It can be quite, like I said, lonely. You've got that, but then there's nothing else.
Because you're just bored.
Yeah.
That was it. And I thought I was lucky. I think I watched the whole like Blackadder from 1 all the way through to the end in like a week, just because I had nothing else to do. And I'm like, okay, I've got to find more to do. So I was spending 2 or 3 hours at the gym and then going home, having a little siesta, going to the beach for a bit and then going to train. And then it's back to the evening and just get into that cycle. So it's finding routine in what we do. And I think that led on to my military career then, is having routine and having structure. I think that's what helped me move on. And that when we got into the RAF, it's having the discipline. I'd always been taught things like the discipline at college level is like never talk to the referees. And I hate it when people like talk back to the referees. I know we're joking, like you were saying, they couldn't see what you were saying. But that was just drilled into me from like a young age with it. And it was, I think that's why, again, with the military, I quite like the military because it is just that discipline. It's like stand here, do that, wear this, eat that, then go there, then. And I can relate to that.
Yep.
So yeah, I think a lot of sport, and it defines the top level athletes, it's that mental picture. And you hear people say it all the time, and I always use tennis as the example for it because you see what makes these two people different is their mental attitude to it. And I think that's, for me, is the key to all of it, that kind of combines everything that I've done and learned through my years, is just having a right mental attitude to go out and do things, but at the same time is have the discipline in yourself just to not do the stupid things. But when you think, right, I've got another training session, or I've got to do this, and it's to putting in the extra work. So we said about Europeans as well. I used to get up early and go and shoot around, and some of the team would be like, what are you doing? We're training later. I'm like, it's just what I'd learned. It's like you go out and you shoot for half an hour and then you go and do something else. So yeah, I think if that answers the question, it is just having that mental, the mental side to it is huge to me. And no one's ever just going to give you something. That's another big takeaway I learned, is I had to to pretty much go out and get what I wanted, albeit I had good support network behind me. But I had to go after it, thinking no one's going to come and get me. I've got to go and get it as such. If that's a good answer. Quite long-winded.
Great, inspiring. Great answer.
There you go. And Mark, we are always groundbreaking on this show, and we're breaking new ground today because we got our first UK Armed Forces taking a shot.
This
on
is
your
very
ring.
true. This
on
is
your
very true.
ring.
No pressure.
No pressure, but you're representing all the
All
UK
the
Armed
armed
Forces.
Oh, interesting.
This is like when they all come together, all the forces come together for that tournament. This is what you're like doing it now.
You
You're
might not have experienced such professional equipment as you're about to wield.
Hey, Mark, this is going to be the first time people can see the shot being taken.
Where am I going? Over.
I didn't even think about
Where am I
that.
shooting from?
The shot is right there.
Can you see that? Oh, I haven't got anything. There you go. Yeah. So if you just take that, I do some commentary here.
So you will be able to see it.
There we go. But you can see how tall Stu is when he walks past. So here we go. Stu Kearney. Where is-
Oh, he's showing me one.
Oh my God! Oh! Oh!
What? I said I only needed one.
He was that confident. Stu, are you going to go for all three?
No, leave it there.
He's leaving it there.
Yeah.
One and done.
Game over.
Like,
Unbelievable.
Mark, I wasn't prepared for that. I pressed the wrong button. You got a snowflake warning rather than applause.
That is amazing.
No one has ever. Actually, someone did hit their first shot once, didn't they?
Not like that though.
Not with that confidence.
There was some practices. There wasn't even there
That's
was
it.
no practice shot.
No,
that was
Mark,
it. It was just done.
Mark,
That's
I'll
the
make-
first time I've touched a basketball, well, if we call it a basketball, in about a year as
Whoa!
well. So,
Don't have a go at the equipment.
we are professional here.
This is high standard stuff here.
Mark, based on that confidence.
Rumor has
and
it that feels better than the current NBA Cup ball. I'm just saying.
based on what's just happened, I think we should rename that shot the Steve Kearney shot.
Stu.
Stu Kearney shot.
We can call it Steve Kearney shot. Should we do that? Steve Kearney shot.
Oh yeah, let's call it the Steve
Well done.
Kearney.
Well done. Plot
Let's
done.
rename it. That shot's now renamed.
Steve at the beach.
Actually, do you know why I said Steve? Because I think it was the Steve Ware shot, wasn't it?
Possibly. We'll have to look through the notes. We literally don't know. It was that long. It was over a year ago.
Maybe we'll do it per season, so no one's had the shot named. So the first shot is the Stu.
No
Kearney
one's
shot.
ever no one's not taken
on camera.
on camera, and no one has taken a
Proof
shot
as well. There we go.
without even practicing. Just taking it. Just that's it.
Wow. How do you feel? Do you feel like you're
And had
Just a normal day.
groundbreaking?
I'm going to use Paul's words for this one. Testicular fortitude to say I only need one shot.
That does take lots of testicular fortitude.
That's impressive. I like that. That was impressive.
There we go.
The only way you can top this is
Your
by
two
doing
questions.
is by doing your two questions. Firstly,
Okay.
2 questions.
you get your one shot,
Yeah.
the clutch shot. It's the game winner. Who's it going to?
I'm giving it to Steph Curry.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Steph.
Just
what? What? A perimeter shot or an inside shot?
Just
or-
where I watched the Olympics.
Yeah.
He was just throwing it from wherever and it was going in. So I'll just give him the ball wherever he wants and just say throw it. It's going in.
He's had a real resurgence recently.
Oh,
hasn't he?
yeah.
He's really
That
on form.
everyone's always talked highly of Steph Curry. I mean, you've got him. You see Caitlin Clark throwing it in from anywhere as well. But I think just watching that last game of the Olympics when he just hit those last 2 shots, I was like, do you know what? I actually see it now. So yeah, I'm giving it to him.
Do you know what I like about Steph? Is not only does he seem quite humble and he's like a really nice guy, but he actually compliments other players on having a much nicer shot than he actually accepts that he's got a really awkward shot because his release is so
quick.
Yeah, it's like, phew, there it is, and that's it. Like I think he was even saying Clay, I think, has got one of the most natural shots because it comes it rises through the body and goes.
No. Ray Allen.
Oh yeah. I'm talking like current
Ray
player, but
Allen.
he was saying that he's played.
Best looking shot,
Yeah.
Ray Allen.
Oh yeah, Jesus Shuttleworth, can't complain.
Yeah.
Love that movie.
So 5 and Pine.
Right.
This has got to be Are we including the coach in this as well?
Well,
See if I
Stu
can
did
remember.
coach
This is what
the
I'm saying.
RAF ladies team. So yeah, we'll
I
give
think
him coach as
we'll
well.
give him coach as well. So
Okay.
this could be any
Five
five.
players,
It could be
one on the bench
Okay.
to save mankind. That's how you want to phrase it.
Yeah, so to save Matt,
To save the world.
the Space Jam 5 and
Nice. So I'm going Shaq. He's in there. I've got Shaq and Kobe.
5. That led well.
I'm going Dennis Rodman.
A man after my own heart. Love it.
Do you know what? I want Sean Kemp in there.
No, you're just playing to my fancy now. Love this.
No one's messing with these guys down low.
No one's getting near the
No,
key.
that's big.
No one's getting near the key.
So I'm
at
torn
all.
between. I've got. No, I'm going to go Jason Williams.
Wow.
Running my point.
White chocolate.
Yeah.
Ooh,
How many is
okay.
that? Is that 5?
That's your 5. Who's on the bench?
This is interesting indeed. I like it. It's spicy.
Who have I got? You see, I've not got Jordan in there, which is often. See, I'm stuck on.
Oh, this is good. I like the thought in this.
I don't know, because I need another person to run. Do I need another person to run point?
You know what? I always think it's really funny when you ask this question. We do give people a brief heads up, maybe a few hours. Sometimes I remember and I'll tell them in the morning. But you see, they go, "Oh yeah, I'll do that," and then they start really
But then
thinking
I
about
really
it.
am, and I mean, like, 'cause
And
I've,
you go-
I've got my bigs.
So you got
but
your
then
bigs.
I'm still torn between.
And the person who you said was going to give you the best clutch shot
You
if
see
you had a choice.
people's
gonna
brain
be
melt,
Steph.
don't you?
Yeah,
And you've got Jason Williams in there, who's
yeah.
a great point, but he's not a shooter.
He's not, but
So
he's just going to throw it up to Sean Kemp, who's going to dunk everything.
And if
And
he
if he
misses,
misses,
it,
Rodman's
going to
gonna
get the
get it.
rebound.
Yeah, but who have you got?
I've got Shaq
If
to
you got-
shoot free throws.
Who have you got on the
I'm right
outside?
there.
You got no outside threat.
Kobe.
I've got Kobe.
Oh, if you've got
I
about
So
that.
I think I'm going to put.
Thinking about that, yeah.
I'm going to put.
I've got a stat for you talking about Kobe.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
got
Actually, if
nothing
you've got
to
Kobe,
verify this.
okay.
Kobe, the last NBA MVP to play all 82 games in a season.
Was he?
Oh, nice.
It
Amazing.
just popped up on social media. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
But I can't verify that because I just read it and spun on.
Can I put myself on the bench just because that sounds like
Yeah.
a fun game?
Yeah,
Yes. Love that.
I'd love to play with those
Stu.
guys. That'd be fun.
Love that.
Stu on the bench. Who's coaching you?
Who's coaching you? Who's the person who's going to go, Kobe, you got to sit down. Stu wants to go.
Yeah.
He'd be like,
I'd
no.
be like, not a chance. Who do I want? Do you know what? I'm going to put my old high school coach, Mick Piggott, as my coach there, just because. Why not?
Big Mickey P. Brilliant.
Yeah.
This comes up quite a
Bless
lot.
him.
Would you say the most
Quite a lot,
influential
doesn't it?
coach you've had?
So he got me into the game. Yeah, I've got him as when I always look back. You look back at your teachers, don't you? And he was one of those teachers always going to remember. Guided me right. So yes, he definitely has to be my most influential coach through basketball. And I think he's still like a big figure around Thetford. And I think he went more towards cricket and stuff like that, which just shows the reach of the guy. But yeah,
That's
a lot of time for that guy.
We've had that a few times on the show where people go, like, we would say the same thing with Jerry Archer at
Yeah.
St. John's College. We would say the exact same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
All it needs, isn't it? Just that one person just to light that fire
Little
underneath you.
spark and
Yeah.
every and generations. It
Yeah.
affects generations. Like that teacher, inspired our generation. Generation followed people like Lawrence, who then went on played National League basketball.
Yeah.
The generation before that was the Portsmouth Fire.
Yes,
Um,
of course.
So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, 100%. No, that's really cool.
I think everyone has that person in their life, don't they? You probably saw that. I remember watching something on Ian Wright, the footballer,
Yes,
and
yeah,
his
yeah.
old PE teacher who fought had
Oh,
died.
yeah, and he
said
goes, "Oh, Mr. So-and-so," and
Yeah.
he takes his hat off, doesn't he? That was class.
That was the
Great-
one
great
person who
Class
got him.
move.
But
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
people
Yeah.
that everyone's got that one person, haven't they, who they'll remember, which we all kind of need.
Yeah.
No, that's very, very cool.
Wow.
I'm very surprised you didn't put in someone like Tim Duncan.
Well, you see, I've got Shaq. So I was torn as well
It
between...
was the Sean Kemp that threw me.
So I had Sean Kemp. What's his name?
Scotty?
No, played for the Clippers.
Oh, what?
Why have I forgotten his name?
Not as in like Elton Brand. Are you talking
No,
like,
recently with it was him and Chris Paul. Blake Griffin.
Yeah.
I forgot his name.
yeah, so did I.
So I've got him.
was thinking
He's always
Detroit.
one of my favourite players. But I remember watching him at college when he won the NCAA finals and then went on to the NBA. But Sean Kemp, I've grown up watching him as well. Just one of the best dunkers. And that's when
Monster.
you could give people crap for
Yeah.
dunking on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I remember watching him play for Orlando and do a layup. And I was like, what are you doing? But that was after his troubles. So,
Yes.
but yeah, I think Sean Kemp, and even with
That
Dennis,
was big, Sean.
yeah, even
was
with
big.
Dennis Rodman, just what he did with the team he had. There's people like Scottie Pippen as well. There's so you say pick 5.
No, that
It's like,
yes,
God, it is a difficult
great
question.
5.
it's been written down now.
It's a great
It's
5.
The only
fine.
thing that you could change,
It's me.
if you want to have an armed forces thing in there, you could have Winston Churchill as the coach. Great motivation. We'll fight.
Everyone will just think Red
For the
Bowler's back smoking a
rebounds.
cigar on the side.
We will fight for the threes. We will never
Good old Winston.
surrender.
Ah,
Right. Well, Stu, look, we really appreciate you coming in. I mean, look,
really
I've
appreciate it.
I've not made it a secret, you know, the stuff that you've told me before about the NCAA, you know, I think
Yeah.
that's absolutely awesome. And, you know, with the stuff that you do in the RAF, I've got a lot of admiration for you and the stuff that you do in the sport. Yeah, look, thanks very much for coming on the show.
been a pleasure.
We really appreciate it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
massively appreciate it. And you forgot to mention that your name was in a draft.
It was, yeah. So,
Oh, God, how did we miss that? Your name was in the NBA draft.
Yeah.
Who's
so,
in charge of this show, Mark?
Listen, we are lawless, all right? This is
So
So,
your name was in the NBA
40-year-old
draft.
So yeah, I got,
40-year-old lawless.
so I got
you
a
know,
message. I can't remember when it was. I got a message from my good friend Pete, and he was like, he's like, "How did you not get picked up with these stats?" And I was like, "I don't know what you're on about." And they sent me a picture or a link to the 2006 NBA draft. And there's my name, my university, and I've just got zeros on everything. And I was like, oh, how did I not get picked up from that? But I think it must just be from when I was registered at university in America. When the 4 years were up, you just automatically go into the draft, I guess.
Yeah.
Because don't you normally
Completely
pay it? I
oblivious.
thought you
I
have to
don't
pay.
know. I don't know where it was, but it was
Someone-
there, and there's only one Stu Kearney who'd been to the University of Alaska, Anchorage.
And it
Someone-
could have been to do with Alaska. It could have been to do with the states. Like so many of them go forward that put the name in. You just don't
There
know.
is
but
someone in America that's like, where the coach gone, put Stu in the draft. He'll be all right. He'll
be
do
fine.
well.
He'll
No,
go
Stu.
places.
And he looked, Stu Kearney, right. Yeah, no worries. And this other guy,
yeah,
Just
the-
with
with all the stats.
zeros, like no picture, just
he's
zero.
like, Coach, are you sure? Don't question me. Do it.
he's not
All right,
even here
coach.
now. No, it's fine. He's in Germany now. No, he's not. Leave him alone.
You
It's
know
fine.
what? If money wasn't an option, like if it didn't need, if we won the lottery,
Yeah.
I would put Mark and myself in the next NBA draft.
Brilliant.
I
I'd
thought-
pay
I
for
thought
it.
we were
Just
building
be
a
like,
stadium.
Just to go for the dinner. And
well, I don't. Well, you don't go for the actual dinner unless they know you're going to get
Oh,
drafted.
okay.
You go up in like the spectator bit, I think. But I like the idea of
Name in a hat.
just having a thing where it says
undrafted.
Mark Chester, 0 points,
It's literally
0
like
assists.
Yeah,
Zero.
undrafted.
getting your name
No.
in the local election, isn't it? That's what it
Like
really
the worst,
is, isn't it?
the worst picture of you as well.
Height. No, but Mark,
Any of them.
we would have to turn up to the whole training camp and be like, right, height, 5'9".
Do you remember those?
Position centre.
Do you
Hold on.
do you remember those adverts? Was it John Smith where it was like, and now John Smith running bomb, and it was like the diving competition, and then
Is that Peter Kay?
It was Peter Kay. And
Brilliant,
he'd run
yeah.
in, and
Yeah.
he'd just do like the big splash bomb or the football one where they're all doing the keep ups.
Yeah.
Oh, we need
And
to
then he
do
just
this.
does it. He goes, have it.
We
Oh,
need
yes.
to do this for
Great adverts.
the NBA draft. We need to turn up and be like, so everyone else is doing like a time.
I
in
mean,
like
there's a mock draft.
20
and
seconds,
There's a mock draft.
and we're doing it in like 4 minutes. And we're like, yeah, coach, put me in.
Yeah.
That'd be
It's just
great.
brilliant. I'd say I've been in the NBA draft. undrafted, but my name was there.
Yeah, it's all going to change when they've got all these NIL deals from all the college players now, and they're all getting their own deals away from the teams.
Yeah.
And the money's being taken out of the universities and all that stuff. And now they're looking at a lot of people in Europe and Australia, and they're looking at all these other places now. Suddenly, I can't remember which show it was that we did, but we were looking at, I think it was when we were talking with Steve, actually, and he was saying about how many people are actually in the UK as players, because at the moment in like the SLB, it's almost like 50% American players in the Super League, isn't it? Because of the way the rules are and so forth. You look at it and you think, so how many actually British players are getting a chance to play at the elite level in their own country to get the game practice to chance, then go and play GB? And shout out to GB basketball because they did really, really well against Greece in the last couple of games.
Yeah, they did really well.
They did. They won the first one, lost the second one, but I mean,
only by 10.
And I love the fact someone commented and said if they'd have hit their free throws, they might have won that. And I was like, yes, because they did miss quite a few. But you're going to go play in Greece. It's a different crowd.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, you go.
Crowds out there were crazy.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So, but I loved it. I loved the fact that everyone was like, we're gonna lose, or we're going up against Greece, who are at the top of the thing, and we won. And you go, home court advantage, call it what you want.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. That's good to see for GB basketball because it means more people do it. The only bad thing was it's not on BBC.
Again,
you
Mark,
have to go look for
I'm going to say it's a disgrace that the GB team is not on Sky Sports, BBC, Channel 4, something like that. All international games,
because you want kids,
especially qualification for the Olympics, need to be on TV.
Yeah. So, I will shout out Elliot on this one. He actually sent me a note.
Elliot Bridgman.
Yep, and he sent me a note saying that on DAZN.
You say names like people should know who you're talking about.
Well, we've had Elliot on the show.
Yeah, but you need to say the surname as well.
Oh God! All right, Mum. On DAZN, if you go and watch any of the Super League basketball, there is actually a link for 1891 courtside, and that is the FIBA thing that allows you to watch some of the free games.
Okay.
Because the only other option was that you had to use your app and cast from your phone to the telly. There was no native TV way of watching it, and you think this seems a bit backward for just watching it. And if you can't get the DAZN app on your TV, if it's like one of those things or whatever, it's just like it should be a little bit simpler than this.
Mark, I will say it again, and I don't care who listens. It is a disgrace. All the TV companies are a disgrace for not putting the GB
It's
game
the national team
on TV. It's a national team.
It should be on. Kids don't have things like Hang Time and One Tree Hill these days, do they? So
No.
they need proper
And
basketball.
I think it was.
But you know, you say you're growing up when you have certain coaches and certain people, and you get put into a team. That's people who are going to motivate you, and then you start hearing it. And obviously, through these now, it's such a connected world.
Yeah.
Why is it our national team where someone would go? Do you know you could play nationally for? You not only could play for your country and go and play in the forces, but you can actually play for GB against other countries around the world. Like, do you not know it's a thing?
And they've even they've started streaming more games now. And I know one the inter-services, I think they start streaming those as well on like Forces TV. And even when
the police, haven't they, as well? The Met Police, I think, do basketball as well.
I'm not sure.
One of them reached out, I think, recently. Okay. But I think some of the actual services do the similar.
But no, we did it out in Belgium as well when we do the international tournament, the UK Armed Forces tournament. I know they stream some of those games, which are always interesting. But as you say, the more you expose people to it, the more they're going to get into it. But to have the national team, like you've rightly said, not on TV in any guise is...
And I genuinely believe this goes all the way up in Parliament, all of that. Yeah. It's that whole mindset that, you know, it's one of the reasons we're doing this podcast, trying to change people's opinion. And look, I really, truly believe country comes before anything. You got your international team, put it on.
There's a player right at the moment, I think he's for EuroLeague, and he plays for Georgia. It's his national team, and I can't think of the player's name off the top of my head. He said a lot of people want to play basketball and they want to go to the NBA. That's the number one focus if I want to be a professional basketball player. He said, I just wanted to play for my country. And I think it's a whole thing about the teams not letting him, releasing him from his team duty to go play for the country for Euro Cup or whatever it is. And he's like, no, this one's first before you. that kind of scenario. We've seen it in some other players as well, but
There's
you see some
can't
of those.
be prouder. We're in GB, England, whatever.
You see it. You see Wemby, Tony Marker. They all put on the French kits. Everyone will do it. So that's great.
Not on the same level. I've got my like United Kingdom shirt in my office, so I got it framed and put it up on my wall.
Nice.
So
That's what people need to do more.
because you're representing your country, aren't you? And
Absolutely.
although it's at the military level, not the same standard as national team, etc. But
You've got the flag on it. You're representing the country.
I have
it.
been trying to recruit Stu for the GB Masters over 40s, over 45s.
No brainer. Like no brainer. Like literally.
He's recovering from injury, Mark.
I know.
He would have
I've
to
only
go
just
from
started
0
running
to
again.
100. So
You
yeah.
don't have to run.
my physio will be like, no.
Pretends that you like. Look at Boban. Just be like Boban. Just be like, I'm the tall guy. Just pass me the ball.
think
up
of
and
it for
I'll just-
next year.
next year, yeah.
Oh man,
I think
for sure.
2026 is in Greece.
You could get a second
European
shirt
Championships
with a flag
in Greece, I think it is. Anyway,
Another frame.
Another
Right.
frame, yeah.
you wanted me to press some buttons, Mark?
I'd love you to press some buttons. So into another episode, Stu. Thank you so much for coming. We massively appreciate it. If you haven't listened to all of our other interviews, go back and check them out. We've got absolutely bucket loads. Until next week, I've been Mark.
I have been Paul, and we've had Stewart Kearney on the show, former NCA for Div 2 Alaska at the University of Anchorage, the first British basketball player at that university, as well as an integral member of the RAF and the UK Armed Forces basketball setup.
And he's never knowingly played badminton.
Yeah, never. No, we don't like badminton, do you?
Gets in the way of basketball, doesn't it? Always waiting to get on the court.
Great answer. Cheers, Stu.